Play.
All right, it is 8:05. We are going to get started. Let me push the buttons.
Okay.
Good evening, all, and welcome to Calbarter's Corner for this week's Whatcha Playing Wednesday. I am Lord Calbarter Geiler, companion of the Meridian Cross, companion of the Argent Comet, companion of the Argent Lamp, Osprey, and Reaper, coming to you live from the Barony of the Osprey on the southern coast of Meridies. I am joined once again by Lady Katherine Throckmorton, excuse me for that, all the way from out in Atenveldt. And today is actually going to be part 2, because apparently we both talk and play way too much to try to get all this information into one hour-ish stream. But we're going to be talking about Ludus Latrunculum. Yes, I butchered that appropriately. Excellent. So we're going to skip over some of our normal talking about the game stuff that we would ordinarily do. So it's going to go into the just playing some. We'll do a little brief update. So anyways, hi, welcome, Katherine. Thanks for coming back.
Hi, thank you for having me back. So as he said, last week we did our introduction of Ludus Latrunculum, and today we are going to be playing a different reconstruction. One of the things that was interesting to me about this game that I got into that I geeked out about last week was that with this one, we actually have bits and pieces of written rules. So it's possible to come up with a reconstruction that you can say with a reasonable degree of certainty, it at least takes all of the available data into account.
Right.
But that still leaves us with like four or five different versions of the game that are plausible. So now today we're going to figure out which version is the most fun. And last week we played one version, decided that we weren't sure if we liked it or not. That was the Ulrich Schadler version.
Honestly, our modifications were better than Schadler's actual written rules.
Yeah. I thought that, I was getting kind of grouchy while we were playing Schadler. So this week we are going to be trying out the version proposed by the great R.C. Bell in his History of Board Games, which are other than chess, which I still think is like one of the greatest book titles of all time.
He was definitely throwing shade on chess. Like Bell was not a chess fan apparently. Like in that when he wrote that title.
Well, I believe that he actually wrote a history of chess.
Yeah.
And then he wrote a book that was like
everything else.
Everything else. So I'm not sure if he was throwing shade on chess or throwing shade on everything else.
It's true.
But anyway, this is Bell's reconstruction. So I can't read 4-point type, so so if you can take that away, we will read through the rules and then we'll play some game.
Sure. All right. So this is played on an 8x7 or an 8x8 board. I've got an 8x8 board set up just because I like even squares, much easier. Each player gets 17 pieces, with one being a different one. So it says that there's one blue, which means the ducks or the special piece would be the same on both sides, which I thought was weird. And then either white or black pieces for the players. We will once again be playing with beholders and skulls. And then I've marked the ducks as a special aura you'll see in a second. So this has two phases, just like Nyman's Morris does, or just like Go or the other sort of games that set up with pieces off the board, where all the pieces are placed on the board during the first phase, players taking turns back and forth, where no captures can be made during that first phase. Once all 32 pieces, 16 per player, have been placed, then the player places their ducks or their special piece. The pieces can then move forward, backwards, or sideways, one square at a time. So we're talking orthogonal movement only.
And only one square.
And only one square at a time. Yeah.
Yeah.
A piece is captured when the opponent brackets it orthogonally. between two of the opponent's pieces. So just like in Toffel or any of the other Toffel variants, it's a two-sided bracket. Let's see, or between an opponent piece and a corner, but not a side square. So it'd have to be, either side, I guess. So corner and then side. And we'll kind of look at that, and we'll do some examples of that when we get to the board in a second. The ducks can be captured like any other piece, and a piece that makes a capture gains an immediate second move, which I think that's going to be the really interesting.
That's going to do some things to the gameplay. Right. I have a feeling.
Which it's going to allow for like the jumping around and the extra jumps in checkers. I think it would be where that really is going to make a difference.
Yeah.
All right. So the ducks can move like the rest of the pieces, or it can jump over an enemy piece that is an adjacent square. So basically, your ducks is your special piece that can do jumps. The regular pieces cannot do jumps. However, the jump piece is not captured, so it is just a movement. Let's see, if a piece is moved voluntarily between two enemy pieces, it is not captured. So just like in Toffel, you can save yourself by moving into a captured square. The opposing player has to be the one to make the move to actually perform the capture. And a player who loses all of his pieces first loses the game. If no captures are made in 30 moves, the game is ended. The player with the most pieces on the board wins.
I don't think that'll be a problem.
No, but I can see that when it gets down, if you got down to 3 or 4 pieces per side, where it was a fairly even game, you would do a lot of pieces around, and you would end up having a stalemate. Yeah. So, all right. So I'm gonna let me move my rules so I can still see them.
Okay.
That's all I want to move over there. Actually, let me not do that, because if I need to see them later on the stream, that would be a problem. Okay. So I will let you go first as the guest. So I guess we just start placing pieces. So there seems to be no limitations about where pieces can be. There seems to be no restrictions. It's just anywhere on the board. So similar to how the other game started. All right. Move this real quick so I can read something.
Yeah.
I'm reading the piece about the ducks capture and in the corner capture. That's going to be the one that's going to be really interesting to see.
That'll be interesting to see how that goes, because the ducks cannot be captured, correct?
No, it can. The ducks is captured like any other piece. The only thing special about the ducks is that it can jump. That is the only thing that's special about it. Per game here.
Which is that doesn't really quite make sense to me.
Right.
That you have this piece and the only thing special about it is that it can jump.
Yeah. So if we look at this compared to Toffel, where you have all of your pieces in the king piece, right? Or all of your or there's another one that does a similar, where there's a special, one of the Chinese or Japanese chess versions has a king piece.
It's your turn.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
There may be other rules that could be added to that, where you have if you can capture the ducks, then you an automatic win, versus having to get out certain pieces.
Right. I mean, exactly. But right. I think that if you have a special piece, that piece can jump. Just that just doesn't quite ring right to me.
Right. It's not quite enough to have that special piece to be there. It seems like it's not enough. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, although who knows? I mean, maybe this piece can jump will turn out to be the amazing game changer of the universe.
Well, if you think about it, because it's an immediate capture. So in Schadler's rules, it was a 2-turn capture, right?
Right.
You had to threaten, and then you had to remove. And this, it's an immediate. Once the move is there, it's captured.
Oops,
and removed.
I almost moved to Beholder.
Okay.
This is also true.
So I can see, and this will probably play faster because of that as well.
Yeah, exactly. And also, it doesn't have the rule about if a piece is threatened, then it can't capture.
Right, that's true. Well, because there is no long-term threatened at all.
Right. But I mean, and I'm just going to put my piece in as a for example.
Oh, sure.
So like, where can I get a okay? Actually, there isn't a spot where I would get a capture and be threatened. Okay.
I'm sure it will come up though. We'll pay attention to that because yeah, I agree. I can see that where that again. That's a
well, like okay, if I had a piece there,
right,
that piece would be involved in a capture and it would be threatened.
Correct. Yeah.
And there's no rule that says that that keeps you from then capturing.
Right.
In the next move, so that will make things interesting.
Your turn.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yep.
I got distracted.
Okay. All right.
If anybody's keeping track, I am drinking Oxymel, which is honey and vinegar and water, and I added a pinch of salt. And it is very tasty and refreshing.
I do that. Yep, I have an extra piece. A couple extra pieces out here. I was trying to cheat, Catherine. Look at me. Looks like I was when I was copying and pasting. I was like that beholder has too many arms. Just double check.
Yep.
Which is not something you ever want to say. Is that beholder has too many arms?
No.
You actually say that.
That is not that. Really, there's no good sentence that starts out with that beholder.
No, you're right. You're right.
I mean,
I don't know. That beholder gave me lots of treasure. You know, that beholder's a nice hugger. I can think of a couple, but like, you know.
Would you really want a beholder to hug you?
Look, I'm an equal opportunity hugger, okay?
Yes, right. It's your turn.
No, ma'am, it's not. I moved quick.
Not? Oh, okay. You were sneaky. Okay. Okay. I'm going to put a piece in the corner so that we can demonstrate that.
Yeah, this rule I was just reading over, so I'll be curious.
Yeah.
We'll just check over that in just a second. We get the person finished.
Yeah. I hope that everyone values my devotion to experimental archaeology.
Your sacrifice for the good of the game there.
Exactly.
All right there.
Okay, and then I'm going to place my Duke.
So when I make a version of this, I'm gonna make the special beast. It's gonna be an actual little duck. This gonna makes me happy.
That would be awesome.
Jumping. All right, so that's gonna go there. All right. So it is now your first move. So let's see what happens here.
Okay. Let's see.
So it says, okay, so it says the piece is captured when the opponent brackets it orthogonally between two of the opponent's pieces. Cool, we know that. Or between an opponent piece and a corner, but not side square.
Right.
Which means, I guess, okay, which means that you can capture a corner with only one piece, I guess?
Okay, so I moved your beholder, which I think I can do.
Yep.
And then that piece that was involved in the capture, I can move down. And I can take that piece.
Yep. So yeah, because that's the one you moved. The one you moved first.
Yeah.
And then you can make it again.
Oh, yeah, but I have to move one of these two pieces.
Yeah. Yes.
So,
I guess it can be either one of them. It doesn't have to be the one you moved previously. It could be
right, but it can be one of it has to be involved in the capture. Okay.
Right.
Okay, I'm done. I like this version better already.
Well, clearly. All right, let's see here. All right, we're gonna go 1, moving that to there, which will capture that guy and that guy. So now here's an interesting question. Do I then get 2 separate moves now? Because
I would assume that it's just one extra move.
Good, because it's one capture, just happen to be multiple pieces involved. I'm okay with that.
Right. Yeah. I mean that to me seems the most reasonable.
Right. Okay. So I've got 3 different pieces I can move here.
Right.
I will see anything I can move to get an immediate capture though. No. All right, we're just gonna do that. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Right. So what are you thinking? Because I see a couple options where you could take things.
Yeah. Let's see.
Let's
see. Yeah, I'm just going to go for the easy one.
Okay, so move that, which will kill this guy. I'll move it for you.
Right.
All right, so then one of those 2 can then move.
Right. And I'm just going to move this guy over here.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. All right, we're going to go, this guy's going to move there, which captures that one. This guy's going to move there, which captures that one. And then move my duck to your guy there. All right?
Yep. Looks good. Yep. Yeah, I'm not sure that the having like additional moves after the second move is strictly in the rules, but I don't care because it actually I think is more fun.
And it says a piece that makes a capture gains an immediate second move.
Yeah, so that would imply that yeah. And it's certainly making the game move quicker.
Right.
And I think is making it more like checkers than chess.
Right.
Which I personally like because I prefer checkers to chess.
Right. Okay, so you move that one up there, which will capture both of those.
Right. I like this version.
Yep. Yeah. All right, so any of those 3 can get a move.
Okay, so any one of these 3 can then move. So
don't see anywhere where you're going to get another capture out of it, though.
No. So I'm just going to move that guy there.
There you go. Prep to the next one. All right. Well, because I'm hunting for blood over here, I'm going to do that, which will capture your ducks, because, why not? Being fancy.
Yeah. Which doesn't really hurt me any more than losing any other piece would.
Right. It hasn't seemed to yet, no.
Yeah.
So we got those 2 that can move. I'm going to go ahead and move that guy back. All right.
Okay. So I'm going to move this guy over, which will then allow me to take out that guy. And so I can now move that piece and that piece.
Yeah, either one of those 2.
Yeah, I don't have anything that gets me an immediate capture there. But no, I don't want to do that. What do I want to do? I'm just going to move this guy over here. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Since you so nicely set it up for me, I'm going to go ahead and take your corner piece here. So, if I'm reading this correctly, me moving this piece to there counts as a capture between me and the wall because it is a corner.
Right.
That's the way I understood that, which is interesting because that is like one of those, like, you're trying to figure out, okay, well, why is that a rule? Like, why is that the qualification? And it almost looks like the rules when you're playing Go of you're cutting off liberties. Like, that's one of the things in Go of how do you determine territory and capture pieces, because it now only has one escape route, right?
Right. Right.
Two. So maybe that's why. I don't know.
Yeah. It's a weird rule.
Yeah,
it's not a good rule or a bad rule. It's just a rule.
I mean, I can see where.
Oh, sorry, you get a second move.
Yeah, and I just slid that guy over.
Okay.
I can see where having it captured where it was an orthogonal capture. Here, I'll demonstrate on the side over here. You know, like that.
Yeah.
In a corner makes more sense to me than just one piece does.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, I think that it would make sense if, like, the only way that you can capture in an L is if it's in a corner.
Right.
That
you can't do it on a side because you can capture orthogonally or up and down.
Right. But I mean, that to me, where it's like you can capture on a side, but like being able to capture in an L if it's in a corner, that would make sense to me. Right. But not just you can capture with one piece on a corner.
Yeah.
Okay, and that guy can move down, and then I've got my beholder, and I'm going to move that guy down. Okay.
So I'm going to look this up afterwards to see because there's all it would take adding in that rule book would be to add an S to that between an opponent's pieces in a corner.
Yeah.
A huge difference. So that could have literally just been mistranscribed at some point.
Right. Yeah. That could definitely be a typo. Yeah. And I think that it would make a lot more sense for it to be that's the only time you can capture in an L.
Right. All right. So we're going to go down here in this little corner and we'll take that guy. And then we'll slide that guy up. All right. Go ahead.
Okay. And okay.
Let's see. See what you're doing down there. I like it.
At this point, we should probably start counting moves.
Right. So that's 2.
Yeah, because at this point, it actually would theoretically be possible for you to run long enough.
Right.
That I couldn't.
But 30 moves without a capture, that'll be interesting. But yeah, so yeah, we'll keep track.
Okay, so that's 3.
3. 4.
5.
Okay, well, that resets it because I capture that.
Right.
Which then gives me another move of those 2. We will slide that guy down.
Yeah.
So your move would be move 1 now.
Yeah.
The next set.
Right.
All right. So where are you going? Where are you running to? Which one's moving?
I already moved.
Okay.
I moved that piece to there. So 1.
Okay. All right. The moves aren't as obvious sometimes in Roll20 if it's not a big move. So it's like I was trying to find the move was.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Sorry.
You're good.
That's another reason to count, I suppose.
Yeah. Right. So 2. Oh, I just did a dumb. Never mind.
That's okay.
Yeah. I should have moved the other piece first. I'm sitting and looking at those 2 pieces going, oh, I'm going to move these 2 over and capture. And nope. All right.
Okay, and so I can
One of
move
those two moved. Yep.
one of these two. Okay. So that was a move.
All right. So here's one for the count. Go ahead.
Okay. 2, and are we going to say that that's a capture,
Yep.
or are we going to say I need an L?
Nope, it captured earlier, so we'll count it now. So that resets
Okay.
it. Yep. Yeah, exactly. I don't necessarily agree that that's what it should be, but that's per with the rules we're playing by. That's what it says.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay.
All right. So you get another move of that guy. So he gets to move. Okay. I'm gonna go 1. Put myself in a hole there.
I don't know why you would do that, but thank you.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't count as a capture.
Oh, that's right. It doesn't count as a capture
Yeah.
because you did it on purpose.
Yeah, because so you have to move it. You have to move either side of me for it to count.
Right.
Which is what it's saying. Again, that's the same thing as a topple does the exact same. Where if you
Right,
move into
right.
that position.
Right. So it's actually so that no suicide move is actually really powerful.
Right.
Because if you really have a piece that's stuck, you just suicide it and you're fine.
All right, so that was so I moved 1, you moved 2, then I moved here to 3.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so that's 4.
Yep. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and jump this.
Oh yeah, that's right. Your dukes can jump.
I can jump. I figured I might as well try it. So
you can jump. So okay, you can jump. Let's see.
Okay, that's 6. Then I'm gonna move up and capture for 7.
And that resets the clock.
All right, so I get another move. I will slide you down. Okay.
Okay.
Ooh, clever. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's good. All right, so that guy's dead. I'll leave that alone. Go ahead and slide that guy down.
Okay, so I'm just going to put you out of your misery.
Yep.
Because I am a kind and compassionate person.
It is appreciated.
Thank you. Okay.
All right, that was your 1 move there. All right, so let's see what we got. Go ahead and slide that guy down. Step 1.
No, I don't want to do that. I want to do that. Okay. It's your turn.
Yep, that was 2. So I'm going to go for. Actually, we'll go this way for 3.
Okay. And I'm going to go down here for 5.
Mm-hmm. And 6.
And 7.
All right, 8.
And 9.
$10.
11.
12.
13.
14. Capture that. So resets the clock, and then I get another move. And we will go down here. So our move count is getting higher now.
Yeah, and I think that we're seeing that with the 30 move clock.
2.
I mean, theoretically, you can actually, like, you can keep running
Right.
long enough to get the game to a draw.
Right. All right. So that captures that, and then I will actually slide down here.
Right.
But it's also forcing us to look at, like right now, I'm a piece behind, so I have to be aggressive to keep the clock from not running out too. So that's interesting looking at that.
Right. So that was 1.
Right. And 2.
Yeah, it's definitely doing a thing where it's not allowing you to play conservatively, which is interesting.
All right, so that captures that. And gives me another move, and I will do, yeah, we'll do that.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Yep. Everybody's quiet out in Facebook land tonight. Nobody's talking to us.
I don't know. They're probably, they're probably stunned into silence by my epically terrible gameplay, but that's okay.
It's awesome gameplay. All right. Did you move and I missed it?
Yes,
I'm sorry.
I moved and you missed it.
All right, so that was 1. And we will go 2.
Mm-hmm. Okay. 3.
And 4.
5.
All right, and 6, but that will reset because that's capture. And let's not move him down. That would be silly. Let's go to. Oh, I'm gonna lose a piece either way. Yeah, I guess let's go there. All right, go ahead.
Yep, and then I will take this guy over here and take that.
Puts us back to even.
Yep.
All right, so this will be 1.
Mm-hmm. And then 2.
3. Well, it's gonna be interesting.
4. Suicide.
Okay. Ooh. Yep. You got me there.
Yeah. This is why I prefer checker games to chess.
Right.
Is because I'm really shitty at thinking strategically.
Right.
But I'm reasonably good at thinking tactically.
Right. Well, I think the difference here is because you have there are limited options, and you're only looking at certain angles. Chess is being angles where there's multiple different types of angles that matter.
Right.
And that's the biggest difference.
Yeah, but I mean, even last week when we were doing the Schadler reconstruction, which is a lot more chess-like.
Right.
That one to me was not as fun.
Right. All right. So that's 1 would be my move there.
Okay. And
this is 2. We're likely going to run the clock down on this one because I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Right. Actually. Ugh. All right. 3.
And, it would make sense since this is the game of thieves that just running the clock.
Right. Yeah. If it works,
it would be a viable option. And that's 4.
5.
6.
7.
8,
9,
10.
11.
Oh yeah, that's right. Your ducks can jump.
Ha! She can jump.
Yes, and I think we now see where the ducks' ability to jump is actually marginally useful.
Right. So that was 11. So your move would be 12.
Okay, so 12.
All right. Yeah. I'll go 13.
Good use of suicide.
Mm-hmm.
Most Roman statement ever.
Right.
15.
All right. 16.
17.
Yeah, that's not going to do anything. Oh, man. Yeah. No, you got me. 18.
Okay.
And then you're capturing for...
And then I capture for 20. So clock is reset.
Yep. And I'm going to go ahead and concede because you haven't guessed
Okay.
So we're at 8:45, so we have time. We can probably squeeze one more in. So let's look at. Let me move my screen back here. Give me a second. Oh God, where did my thing go? All right, so I like that. That's an interesting, much easier, much simpler than Shodler's rules.
Yeah. I still don't see the point of having the ducks.
No, there's got to be something else there. I can see where you can add some rules to it and make it more interesting.
But just Bell as written, I would not mind playing Bell, but I would take the ducks out.
Right.
Like, being totally honest. Okay. Do you want to go ahead and read Kowalski?
Yep. So I'm looking at. All right. So this one is a drastic change from the other two we've looked at. So the board.
I should start putting my skulls in position. Yes.
Yep. They should already be in position, actually.
No, they are not.
Okay. All right. So the board has 8 ranks and 12 files. So it's an 8x12 board. Each player has 12 men and 8 ducks. And this shows that they're black on one side and white on the other. So it's always black and white pieces in all these listings. In the starting array, the men fill the first rank and the ducks stand the second. So it's always your pawns on the back line and your king piece in the front. Let's see.
Where does the ducks go?
The ducks start center of the back row, flanked by 5 men on each side. Hold on, that's
okay.
In the starting array, men fill the first rank and ducks stand the second on the square just to the right of the center. There it is, just to the right of the center line. Okay. So there's also a variation where they do 10 squares by 11, where the ducks is in line with this with the rest of the pieces. So we'll be playing the one where it's in front. All right, each piece may move any unobstructed distance along a rank or file. So these basically they're rooks. All the pieces in this are rooks and can move any way, any distance orthogonally. A man is captured if it's if the enemy places a piece adjacent to it on each side. So just like so the capture rules are the same. It has to be an orthogonal block capture. But multiple men can be in a line and can capture together. So you can surround an entire unit, in this case, with 2 pieces. If pieces move voluntarily, it is not captured. So if you move into capture, quote unquote, it is not captured. But it does need to be pointed out. A man in a corner is captured if the opponent places his men on the 2 squares adjacent. So there's our L capture. The last one.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes more sense to me.
Repeating sequences are not allowed, so you cannot do the same move twice in a row, or realistically the same sequence. So you can't chase each other around in a circle. I think that's gonna be hard, but it's but it's a three move sequence would be is what you're generally looking for.
Okay.
And then the ducks cannot be captured. If, however, it is immobilized on all four sides, you win the game. So this is very much this is TOEFL. If you look at the TOEFL rules, the pieces are captured by orthogonal capture. The object is to either remove all the player's pieces or to capture the king or the ducks, dukes, whatever we're calling it. And then pieces move like rooks orthogonally in any number of
yeah. I do think that having a special rule for what happens when the ducks can't move makes sense if you're going to have the ducks.
All right, so I will let you move first. Please have at it.
Okay. Let's see.
So yeah, this one is much more like I would say like British TOEFL because I see like two British lines, versus the attacking the hall like TOEFL is supposed to be.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. I'm just gonna start out big there. All right, go ahead. So it also doesn't specify what happens if the ducks is captured in a corner either.
I would
be, but it says it can't. Like it doesn't have the reasoning there for it.
Yeah. I mean, I would assume that if the ducks was pinned in a corner, I mean, it's pinned. So
it's pinned, but because it specifies that the only way to immobilize them is for it to be on four sides. Mm-hmm. Like it specifically, states that. That sort of is a specificity overriding a generality at that point.
I agree with you there. I'm just saying I don't understand the logic of the rule.
Right. All right. Oh no, let's not do that. Let's do that.
Okay, so I'm gonna take that piece.
Okay. I'm sort of just guessing at tactics here. Like I'm like, this looks goodish, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like anything else. You play
capture that.
Yeah. I mean, it's like anything else. You figure out how to play the game by playing the game. Okay. This version takes a lot longer to get started.
Right. It's more, there's a sort of because you're not, the board has a preset state. I've noticed that with preset boards versus player set boards, the two differences we've seen in these, the preset boards always take longer. The first part's always much longer than the ending of the game.
Right.
All right, let's see. We'll go. That's what I got. Mostly looking at this, like I'm seeing that, so I can see if I move that up, then it has an obvious attack here. So like I want to move things into attack postures, but there's so many things that you could do in counter that it's much more difficult to look at.
Right.
I'm going to slide the ducks over, capturing that, and I made that choice versus moving on one of my bottom pieces because had I moved this guy up instead,
right, it would have.
Putting more of a risk than the ducks is because the ducks has to be captured four-sided. So
yeah,
it makes it a much more powerful piece, even though it has no special rules for it. Especially it has, because it has a defensive rule.
Right.
That makes more sense, or it makes it more powerful.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I like this version.
Yeah.
Better than Bell, but I like the ducks rule better than Bell.
Right.
It would be interesting to play Bell's version with this ducks, but let the ducks jump.
Right. I think that was one of my suggestions was giving the ducks full orthogonal movement versus just one space, or even adding giving it diagonal movement. Giving it random motion.
or just having it, the ducks can jump and it has to be captured on 4 sides.
Right.
That I think would that would make the bell ducks make more sense, I think. Okay, anyway, you move.
So like I'm gonna put that there.
An interesting.
It's technically it can't be immobilized.
Yeah.
You cannot cover it on 4 sides.
Right.
And I have a thing I'm looking to do with it. So
I mean, I can capture it on 3 sides.
Right. But because the rule specified it has to be 4, it's not a capture.
Right. It's not a capture.
Right.
You can't do anything with it.
Right. So yeah, we're in movement with it. So
right. But it's not like you not being able to move your ducks is the end of the,
right.
The end of the world. So I took that piece. Okay.
All right.
I missed the bonus turn.
Right. I keep wanting to go again. I'm like, oh, I can do that in this one. Yeah.
Yeah, I missed my bonus turn.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to do that. Which captures 1, 2, 3 pieces. That's why I put it there. I was like, I'm going to try to set this up, see if I can do this. And
yeah.
So it took me a minute, and I lost a piece doing it, but it was a 1 for 3 at that point.
Yeah, but that was a smart move, and it's kind of making me grouchy.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, you can be okay with that, but I'm just saying that I don't like Kowalski as much.
All right.
Okay, so you did not take my ducks in that situation.
Correct. Yeah. So he is still able to move.
Okay. Suicide.
Okay, so that guy slides up, capturing that.
Yep. Okay.
Slide that guy up to there.
And that's dumb.
And that's game.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
You moved that. I was like, that's an odd move. Okay. So,
yeah, I was just not seeing what was going on.
So that really makes a difference because you have to pay attention to the ducks not wanting to be captured. So I think that also could be added to Bell's rules of having if you can capture the ducks on 4 sides like that, having it be an automatic win versus removing all the pieces. We could give that a much more balance, I think, to it.
Yes, I agree. I agree. I think that would be good. I think overall, I don't like Kowalski.
Yeah, I actually like that version better. But again, it's a very much chess versus checkers game. Yeah. So I can see the difference there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a terrible game.
Yeah.
But to me, Bell is more fun. So right. I guess it's getting on to 9. I don't think we really have time to do. Do we have one more version or 2 more versions?
Just one more. Oh, well, okay. We have Faulkner's and the Museum Quintana one. The Museum Quintana one is sort of, I think, unplayable. Like we can kind of talk about it because I put the 2 together here.
Okay. Well, how about are you good with coming back do you want to go for another hour, or do you just want to come back next week?
I think let's look at this real quick. Let me see, because I haven't looked at these at all, so I'm not sure how long it's going to take. All right. So in Faulkner's, we've got 144 squares, so it's a 12 by 12. Each player starts out with 5 rows of pieces, beginning left-hand corner. They're placed alternating. Oh, I set up the board wrong. Okay, yeah, we'll do this another week then, because I set the board up wrong on that one.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah. So let's do a recap of Kowalski's and Bell. So yeah, I think. I want to see what they're basing these on, because these are two drastically different games now, right? They have some similarities, but of course they're similar to TOEFL and things like that, where a lot of the rules are piecing apart.
I think that what they're doing is, and I don't have a copy of Bell. I'll say that straight up. So you might want to, if you have a copy of Bell, go to your copy of Bell and see what he says, because Bell is usually pretty good about. I have borrowed a friend's copy of Bell. And Bell is usually pretty good about giving his sources and explaining his logic.
Right.
And I think that it's my suspicion is that it's probably one of those things where, like we talked about in the first class, it's like, captured like between two pieces.
Right.
Right. So it's like you have a little bit of the capture mechanic, you have a little bit here and there, and then of course you have the surviving boards, and you have I think part of it just might be that how much you buy into the theory that this turns into Nefertafel.
Right. Well, I mean, because it very obviously the exact things are there. Like there are too many, especially in Kowalski's, much more so than Bell's.
Yeah. So I think that if you assume that this is that when in doubt, go with the Nefertafel rule. You're going to end up with kind of a different game. Shadler was sort of like, when in doubt, assume it's go.
Yeah, because it very much was play like go. I agree.
Yeah. So I think that Kowalski, to me, kind of felt like, when in doubt, go with the Nefertafel rule. Maybe.
Right. Yeah. Much more similar to those later periods.
But I don't know, like of the 3 that we've played so far, I really like the Bell version better.
Let's see.
I think it's a faster paced game, and I think it's quick from the beginning, and then it kind of comes down to like this battle of wits at the end,
right,
where you're trying to run the clock, and I like that.
Right.
I just don't think that his ducks mechanic makes sense.
Right. Yeah, it's when sort of, I guess, so if you look at chess, right? So in chess, the queen is a very powerful piece, but often people rely on it, and it becomes a hindrance. A lot of the chess theory talks about the queen being a hindrance if you rely on it too much. I think in Kowalski's, that's the same idea. You have this powerful, or Bell's rather, you have this powerful piece, right? "Quote unquote" powerful piece that's really actually not that powerful, but it ends up, if you ignore it, which you and I largely both did when we played. Yeah. There's not a whole lot there, right? Yeah. Because there's no risk. Whereas in Kowalski's, because you have a risk of, you have to make sure you're at least paying attention to your king piece, your queen piece, whatever you call it, that even if you don't use it offensively, you at least have to remember that it exists and remember that it's threatened. Yeah. Same thing in TOEFL. So TOEFL, the king in TOEFL is a regular piece. Right. Special, like it's trying to escape mechanic or trying to be captured mechanic. So you have to play both offensively and defensively with that. Right.
And I think that maybe when we're done with this series and we wrap it up, if we kind of like make our own version. Yeah. Where we like take the good parts,
combine them all together, and make
and make like the super, the super version. That might be fun too. Yeah. Okay, well, right. I think that we are good for next week.
Yeah, let me check the schedule. I think I've got Gluckhouse next week, but we'll get it in a couple weeks or so. Okay. So it has been a pleasure once again, and I appreciate you coming back. And I look forward to you and everybody out there in Facebook and YouTube lands. Thank you all for joining us as usual. Feel free to like, follow, comment, subscribe, do all the fancy YouTube, Facebook things. Share this page to everyone. This is now, and I can say this officially, an award-winning and royally recommended YouTube channel. So I can say that because Their Majesties mentioned me in court the other day. So yeah, for that.
This is
anyways, also, if you want
best gaming stream on YouTube.
it is the best.
Really recommended.
That's right.
I do not believe any other game streams can claim that distinction.
Royally recommended. So if you want RUM credit or Royal University of Merdier's credit for this class, there'll be a link in the description for a sign-in sheet. If you want to know what that is, feel free to PM me and I'll let you know all about RUM and the glories of getting fake cool college degrees. So anyways, so this, as usual, this has been Calburger and Catherine in Calburger's Corner. Thanks, guys.
And we'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye.